to the seeds only and just trying to eat the fleshy part and not the seeds. Hi guys, and welcome to the Pioneer Farmhouse. My name is Patricia. Welcome to my home. We are in my kitchen. This is where we spend most of our time together, cooking and preparing meals. It's been a while since I've gotten on here to talk to y'all. Personally, I'm just going to tell you a little bit about myself. I am a farm wife. We have a cow-calf operation. We operate off of, we have 4 farms that we operate off of currently. Altogether, we have just around 500 and something acres, and that's just enough to keep my husband busy. I am a home health nurse. Currently, though, I am off work on a shoulder disability. I have stage 4 osteoarthritis in the shoulder. It really kept me from lifting and working with my patients a lot. It just finally got so severe, so painful that something had to be done with it. So last year in December, I went to the doctor, and then in March, they finally scoped it, went out and cleaned it the best that they could. The procedure was probably somewhat successful, but I ended up having some setbacks from it, and I am still on that disability. I hope that pretty soon things can move forward and return back to work. I don't know that I will be able to go out in the field because I'm really fearful of injuring and hurting it now that we're getting to the point that I actually think that now it is beginning to heal. It's been about 4.5 months now, so continue those prayers that life will return back to normal for us and that I can get back out and start working again. For now, what I've been doing with the limitations that I have is just really just been maintaining the house the best that I can, and that of course, is doing the laundry, making the beds, cooking meals, sweeping, mopping, dusting, everyday farm chores, cleaning out the fridge, cleaning out the pantry. And I've really enjoyed this time being off. I got to spend the whole summer with my grandsons, which has actually been a wonderful blessing. But it does have its downsides. For one, the change in the financial has been a really big hit. We've learned to manage with that. We've learned to manage with less. It has been a pretty big eye-opener because I did realize that I spent a lot of money that I shouldn't have, and our eating habits have gotten a lot better. I haven't said that I've lost weight, but we are eating better. I don't go to town. I don't go shopping nearly as much. And I have really been super focused on cooking what is in our pantry, in the refrigerator, in the freezer. Been super focused on buying foods that are on sale, and learning to use those leftovers and incorporating them into our next meal. With that being said, I feel like I have really grown more over the last several months because of that. I've gained a lot more experience because of it, and I think it's just been a lot more gratifying knowing that I am really saving a lot of money in the area of food, especially with food prices being so high right now. So, some of the other things I've been doing around the house, I have gotten my sewing room somewhat cleaned out. It's not all the way cleaned out. Still have some areas of focus that needs to be worked on. It has been mostly painted. The carpets have been cleaned. We reorganized the sewing room, got the sewing machines back down there. I still don't have all of my sewing stuff downstairs in the sewing room. That's gonna take quite the task, One of the biggest places in my sewing room we've got to clean out is the closets. The closet's just full of junk up on the shelves and all the way down to the floor. So maybe one evening, we got cooler weather coming, that will be a nice task to get done. Other things, other ideas that are coming into play, I think. Our farmhouse that we have, that I told y'all way back earlier in January, that burned. It didn't burn down to the ground, but it sustained a lot of damage. Most of it has been done, and it has the new roof. One of the ceilings, one of the workers put a hole in the ceiling, so that has to be fixed. So we're getting ready to do a lot of deep cleaning in there. We're going to be moving furniture in there soon, finish the painting, getting the appliances put back in, and I think that we're going to turn it into an Airbnb, which is going to be a really awesome location. It's right off the highway, on a very main highway coming into Yellville, between Yellville and Harrison. So I think that's going to be a nice added addition to our story. And I started an Etsy shop too. I'm going to be doing a lot of sewing. I'm going to be making primarily aprons right now. And I'm probably going to do some custom children clothing and put it on there. And tea towels. I'm not sure what else. I know that Christmas is coming up, so I'd like to get a lot of stuff listed. Also make lye soap. So I am going to come up with a signature farmhouse soap that is going to be scented and unscented. And I just have so many things in mind that I think are going to be wonderful for us. My goal would be to completely stay home, create content, and do the duties of a farm wife and live the simplest life possible. And, and the only way to do that is through subscribers. Subscribers are free. I am currently sitting at 721. My goal is to reach 1,000 subscribers, guys. I would love to reach 1,000 subscribers within the next month, so that the analytics will just take off. That way my videos will be pushed. The more subscribers that I have, more likes, more contents, it just helps me to get more videos out there. I definitely encourage everybody to give me feedback, whether it's positive feedback, negative feedback, on what you're looking for. My cooking content is going to always be things that you have in your pantry, things that you have in your refrigerator, things that you can source locally. You're never going to have to buy anything from a fancy store, something off Amazon to make my meals. My meals are going to be something that you can prep from your pantry and generally have a meal ready within 30 or 45 minutes. I have some cookbooks that are going to make that simple for me. And I was looking through one of my cookbooks last night. This is one of my all-time favorite ones. This one is 900 Successful Recipes. This is a very old cookbook. It was made in 1923. This cookbook is 100 years old. And one thing that I noticed in it when I was reading it last night, pesky fly. One thing that I noticed when I was reading it last night, how simple the recipes are. There's nothing in it that is not heard of or unique. I mean, it's really your basic flour, sugar, molasses, honey, eggs. I mean, simple ingredients. A different way of folding it or something to make it look unique. For instance, one of the recipes that I have marked in here is just plain bread pudding, 2 eggs, sweet milk, breadcrumbs, sugar, nutmeg, salt, baking powder, butter, and raisins. Now, I know that most everybody has those ingredients in their pantry, and that is really easy to make. Another recipe that we are going to make today that I really like is called a quick honey rolls. It is called quick honey rolls, and it calls for flour, baking powder, salt, shortening, milk, and honey. And this doesn't even call for yeast. So I'm quite curious to see how this is going to turn out. I kind of feel like it's gonna be a really sweet biscuit, but that is on. And just running through some of these, I have some more marked. The other one I thought was really neat was the Ideal Custard Pie. And this one calls for 3 eggs, 2.5 cups of milk scalded, sugar, nutmeg, vanilla, and salt. Now, how much easier could that recipe get to make a pie? So I believe that I'm probably going to make the pie tonight. I'm also going to make the biscuits. And this book just goes on and on. Everything is just so simple. Chocolate pie, we got 2 eggs, water, flour, sugar, cocoa, salt, butter, and vanilla. I know that every one of y'all has these ingredients in your pantry. Let's move on to some other things. We got sweet potatoes, we got fried cabbage, spinach and egg salad, apple salad, pimento cheese. Anyways, guys, thank y'all for hanging with me. Stay tuned to the video where we are making the rolls and the pies. Let's get ready and make a pie crust. This crust will be used later for our pie that we're going to be making. I do recommend using real butter for this, and also lard. Using butter substitutes might be appealing to some, but these lighter ingredients won't give you the flaky crust you deserve. Butter will give you the perfect pie, flaky layers, and lard can provide some lightness to the dough. When ingredients like butter become too warm, your crust won't have that nice flaky quality that you are looking for. It is really important to keep your dough cool and to use ice cold water. This will prevent your butter from melting, and it will keep your dough nice and light. Also, remember not to overwork your dough. Overworking your dough will overworking the dough will cause it to become tough. And also, little tidbit, always use all-purpose flour. Avoid self-rising flour. Although I am in a hurry to get my pie crust rolled out, always remember to work with well-chilled dough. This will prevent it from sticking to the counter and tearing. And second of all, never roll out dough rolling back and forth in the same section. Each time you press on the same spot, more gluten develops and it can toughen your dough. Now let's prepare the pie dish. To accept the pie crust, I used a simple butter spray and sprayed it into the dish. There's several different ways that you can move your pie crust into your pie pan. Mine, I just simply folded it in half and lifted it over into the dish. Another way of doing it is using your rolling pin by rolling your dough over the top and around the rolling pin, and then gently laying it into the crust, or gently laying it into the pan. Or you can just roll it onto parchment paper, and there's even some methods of people just pressing the pie crust into the pan. As you can see, I am now just removing the excess crust. I'm just going to take a fork and I'm just going to press the edges, mainly just to hold that crust onto the pie shell so it doesn't slip down into the pan. I am not going to, according to the directions, you do not pre-bake your pie crust. It will bake with your dessert. And I'm going to poke some holes in the bottom. Mainly you do this if you're going to just bake the pie shell. But at this point, I just always feel like I could use those fork holes in the bottom. And I've preheated the oven. Next, I'm getting ready to prepare my egg custard batter. Up next is the ideal custard pie. This has got to be one of the easiest custard pies I have ever made. Ingredients is 3 eggs, 2 cups of sweet milk, scalded and then cooled, half a cup of sugar, 1/4 teaspoon of nutmeg. I did not have nutmeg, so I substituted with cinnamon, 1.5 teaspoons of vanilla, and a few grains of salt. If you'll just follow the instructional videos and watch how I prepared it all, it will come out just like mine. I will also put the recipe in the description, and at the end of the video I will actually have taken a photo and posted it, and you can follow the directions there as well. What is not in the recipe is the temperature setting and how many minutes I cooked it. If I recall, I set the oven on 350 degrees and I baked it for 25 minutes. And you'll want to test your custard with a little knife, and if the piercing comes out clean, it is complete. Mine, I just kind of touched it and it had a nice bounce back, so I removed it from the heat then. You can also try this without any spices. I think the vanilla is just a nice addition to itself, and you might try other flavors, actually putting some fruit in with the custard too, maybe like some raspberry filling over the top of it, or maybe just a tad bit of other flavorings actually inside of the custard pie. So here is our ideal custard pie made with very simple ingredients. I will list the recipe in the description. So y'all saw the video of the pie. It is completely done. It is on the stove and it is cooling for supper tonight. So let's get started on those biscuits. So the biscuits that I have is going to be a quick honey rolls. I actually don't think they're going to be a yeast roll. I think that they're going to be like a sweet biscuit. But whatever it is in the book. It's simple. We are going to try it. We may or may not like it. We need to learn to go out on the limb and try things. Even if they don't turn out, we still need to know, how we can tweak that recipe and make it better. So let's get started on it. I have all the ingredients laid out. For the quick honey rolls, we are going to need 2.5 cups of flour, 3.5 teaspoons of baking powder, half a teaspoon of salt, 4 tablespoons of shortening, 3/4 cup of sweet milk, and 1/4 cup of honey. So what I don't have is the shortening. I ran out of shortening. I used what I had left to make the crust for the pie. So I am going to just substitute today. I have regular butter. I have 4 tablespoons of butter. So we are going to try that and see how we make this turn out. I also didn't have any just sweet milk, so I had some sweetened condensed milk that I put in a cup. Got my little hand sifter. There's all kinds of little sifters that you can use. So it says sift together 2.5 cups of flour, okay. We're going to do a half a teaspoon of salt. Or a little more salt than what we need. Next, cut your shortening. So that would be our butter. Alright, that looks like it's done well. And it says add your milk and then your honey. So for the milk, we need 3/4 cup of sweet milk. And I'm using a 1/4 cup, so we need 3 of these. Okay, and then we're going to do 1/4 cup of honey. Now I stuck my honey in the microwave just so that it would be pourable. It says mix quickly with a mixing spoon. I've got a fork. I don't think that makes any difference. And then you're going to roll it out on a board to the thickness of 1/4 inch. I do have to say that dough smells so good with the honey in it. Trying my best not to overwork this and just trying to get the loose dough on the bottom. Okay, so now it says spread honey generously over the dough and then a little flour and nutmeg. Roll over in a tight roll and cut into thin slices. Let slices set upright in a greased pan like biscuits and bake. Kind of push it together. All right, so probably have it a little bit thinner than what they called for. Just gonna kind of shape it in a triangle here. It says to put some more honey over it. So that's what we're gonna do. Got honey on it. Now I do not have nutmeg. I am out, so we're just gonna go with the good old cinnamon, and I am actually going to put a little bit of brown sugar on that. Now the recipe does not call for brown sugar, but I'm just thinking that this is going to taste really great with brown sugar. Stretch it out a little bit. It's a little thick in the center. Skillet, I am going to grease this really, really well with some butter flavored spray. Let's see. I think I might want to start from the center, maybe. We'll see. Being real careful not to mash the pieces, so I'm doing a little sawing method here. So I think that I will go ahead and start from go ahead and put them on the edge. Some of them anyways. I can rearrange them afterwards. Now, like a regular biscuit, I'm sure that these are going to expand when they're in the oven. So they do need a little bit of space to do the rising. This definitely has fooled me because it is definitely not what I thought it was going to be. Some good spacing between these. So the thing about these old recipes, I'm sure that they cooked them on a wood stove. Of course, most of us do not have a wood stove anymore. So I am just improvising, just playing with the heat. And I have set my oven at 400 degrees. And I'm going to check on them in probably 12 minutes. If y'all are liking these videos, please give me a thumbs up. Please subscribe to my channel. Leave me a comment. Tell me about some variations that you have tried, and maybe a recipe that you would like for me to try from the past. All right, you guys. Okay, so I just pulled these out of the oven. I had them on 400 degrees for 17 minutes. I started off with 15 minutes, and then I started off with 12, and then I added another 5. So a total of 17 minutes. These are way better than what I had ever expected. I did not expect these to be rolls, basically like a cinnamon roll. This is a cinnamon roll without the yeast, and I am just going to put some butter over the top of these, and we're just going to eat them like a sweet roll. And just like the recipe said, I mean, these are literally sweet rolls, but they're not yeast sweet rolls. They're just kind of like a biscuit sweet roll. I haven't tried one yet. They just come out of the oven. I expect that they are extremely hot, but I do not want to touch these until my husband gets home and get his opinion of them. But clearly people back 100 years ago did not have a lot of money. They cooked with what ingredients they had, and if yeast wasn't available, it just wasn't available. Made do with what they had, and I'm sure that these are extremely tasty, and we're definitely going to try them together, both the pie and the rolls. Just really want to get all this butter goodness over them. The recipe did not call for these, but like cinnamon rolls or any other biscuits, you want butter on them. And I just melted butter so I could just spoon it over them. So these are the quick honey rolls. They look like cinnamon rolls. They smell like cinnamon rolls, but there is no yeast in these. And then how about this ideal egg custard? All of these ingredients were so simple. They were staples in my house, staples in your house. And I promise you, if you made either one of these, y'all would be a big hit in your house.